Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good evening. It's wonderful to have you here in the sanctuary. It's wonderful if you're joining us virtually. It's wonderful to celebrate Shabbat together. It's wonderful to celebrate Bat Mitzvah together. We're going to begin on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Mishor Avdach Eretzona Yarutz Avdach Kimoaya Yishtagabe Mul Hadara Ki Yeravlo Yedidutach Minofet Suv Bechotam Migalena Ufros Aviv Alai Et Sukan Shelomach Ta'ir Eretz Mikodach Nagila Benismechavach Maher Ahum Kiva Moen Bechoneni Kimei Olam Nai 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 We continue together on page 11, Lechu Niranena. Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai. Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai. Daria, Daria, Letzur Yishenu, Mikadma Fana Bitoda. Daria, Daria, Letzur Yishenu, Bizmiro Daria, Lo, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai. Lechu Niranena, Lechu Niranena, Lechu Lechu Niranena, Adonai. Page 14, Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagel haaretz. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Umelo. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Umelo. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Umelo. Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Hiram hayam, Umelo. We continue on page 20, Romemu. Nai, nai, nai. Yai dai 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 nai 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 nai
קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
I ask that if you're able to do so, please rise. We turn to page 21 together for Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid Avu l'Adonai b'nelim Avu l'Adonai kavod va'oz Ay Avu l'Adonai kevod shemo ishtachavu l'Adonai ve'al ha'kodesh kol Adonai al ha'mahim ve'ha'kavod ilim Adonai al mahim rabim kol Adonai ba'koach kol Adonai be'adar kol Adonai shomer arazim vayashaber Adonai el arze havanon vayakidem kemo egel Lebanon ve'Sion kemo ben remim ay kol Adonai hotel lahotesh kol Adonai yakim mibar yakil Adonai mibahar kodesh kol Adonai kol ayalot vayekesov ye'arot uvechalom kulo merkavot ay Adonai lama bo yasham yeshev Adonai melech leolam Adonai os ve'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom Lai 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 Ay lai 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 lai
Please be
Let us
seated.
please be seated. We're going to continue on page 22. Ana v'choach. If you would, may your mighty right hand undo the knot that ties us up. Mighty Holy One, in your abundant goodness, guide your people. Ana v'choach.
Ana v'choach, v'choach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha. Tatit serura, kaberina tamcha, sagvenu tarenu nora. Ana v'choach, v'choach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha. Tatit serura, kaberina tamcha, sagvenu tarenu nora. bekoa gedula yemincha tati tzerura tatem tzerura kaberina tamecha sagleinu tareinu nora nagibor dorshei yechudcha kivavan shomrem achem taharem rachamem sidkatecha tamid golem ana bekoa gedula yemincha tatit zerura tatit zerura gaberina tamecha sagveinu tareinu nora nai 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 nai
We continue on page 23 as we prepare to greet the Shabbos bride, Lecha Dodi.
Nai 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 Shabbat Kabbalat Mechadori Rakala Penei Shabbat Kabbalat Shamor Bezachor Beribor Echad Ishmianu El HaMiuchad Adonai Echad Ushemo Echad Shemu Tiferet Ve'elitchila Mechadori Rakala Penei Shabbat Kabbalat Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'necha ki mekor Aberacha merosh mikedem Nesucha sof ma'aseh V'machshavat tchila Lecha dodi rakala Penei Shabbat Kabbalat Mikdash melech melucha kumitzi mitocha vekarav lachshevet beyemecha becha bechui yachamol alai chemla mechadodi eli rakala penei Shabbat Kabbalat hinari me'afar kuli livshi bigdeya tifartecha mi aliyad ben Yishai ben chalach mi'akar va'el nafshi nafshi ge'ala Hadodi eli rakala penei Shabbat Kabbalat hitorere hiva orech kumi ori uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alaik nigla Hadodi eli rakala penei Shabbat Kabbalat Tevoshi תיקמי מה תשתוכחי ומתכמי בך יכסו אני עמי ונפנתה הרצתי לה לך דודי אלי רק עלה בני שבת נקבלה והיו לשמסה שוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסחוס חתן חתן הקלה לך דודי נגרע קלה בני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי נגרע קלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום התפלה גם בשמחה ובצולתו כמוני העם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי נגרע קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי נגרע קלה בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. We continue on page 27, Mizmor Shir Le'om HaShabbat.
מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, לך אגיד בבוקר הצדקך, לך אגיד בבוקר הצדקך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, לך אגיד בבוקר חסדך, לך אגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב, טוב להודות לאדוני.
We declare God is sovereign of the universe, page 29, Adonai Malach.
Adonai Malacheu lavesh, lavesh, Adonai ozit hazar, aftikon tevel batimot, aftikon tevel batimot, nachon kisaka mehas, me'olam ata. נעשהו נהרות אדוני, נעשהו נהרות עולם, יישאו נהרות ים, מקולות מים רבים, אדירים
the Baruch Hu.
Nay, nay, na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay, nay. Ya, da, 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 ya, da, 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 ya, da, da. Nay, nay, na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay, nay. Ya, da, 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 ya, da, 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 ya, da, da. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Nay, nay, na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay, nay. Ya, da, 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 ya, da, 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 ya, da, da. Nay, nay, na, 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 nay, 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 na, 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 nay, nay. Ya, da, 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 ya, da, 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 ya, da, da. Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, mabdil ben yom u'ven layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Page 40.
Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha avta. Torah u'mitzvot u'chinu mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu u'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Tichem chayenu ve'orech yameinu ve'orech yameinu u'va'hem megeh yomam v'layla. Be'ahavatecha atasir miminu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha ayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'diparta bam b'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shokvecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yedecha ve'hayu latotafot bein einecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot
Beitecha u'visharecha.
sharecha v'yim shemo at l'tayishem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
We continue on page 44, Mi Chamocha.
Kodesh, no ratahilo to say fele, no ratahilo to say fele. Malchut Echara uvanecha, bokei ayam livnei Moshe. Ze'eli anu ve'amru, ze'eli anu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Nai 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 nai
Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Vehamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu Lechaim Ushalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim.
Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our God. Please watch over us and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Lechaim.
I ask that if you're able to do so, please rise. Beshamru is on page 46. We sanctify Shabbat together.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael eret ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam barit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael eret ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לדורות המועית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המועית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המועית עולם.
Hatzi Kaddish is on page 46.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברה קידותי ועמליק מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעד מעל מיה.
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר וירמה וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה ברכו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen.
The Amidah for Friday night begins on page 47. This is a silent prayer. Please use the words of the Siddur or private meditations of your own heart. For those of you still praying your Amidah, please continue to do so. The rest of us may be seated. We'll continue on page 51 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam Ki Ata Shalom, ki ata melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam b'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
Page 52, Ose Shalom.
Say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. Say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'emeru amen.
Kaddish Shalem is on page 54.
Yikral v'gerashem me'raba
Amen.
be'amadi v'rakirute ve'amlik malkute v'chayechoni v'mechoni v'chaydakol be'Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari ve'meru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'alam olam me'al maya
Yitbarach.
Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yirmam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitzaleh v'yitzaleh shemedi kudisha v'richu le'ela min kol brakata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran me'al ma v'imru
Amen.
Amen. Titkabat zlotahon v'utahon kol Yisrael kodava v'honu v'shamaya v'imru
Amen.
Amen. Yehi shalom arava min shamaya v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oh, say shalom bimromava. Huya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. As I mentioned earlier, it's really wonderful to have everyone in the sanctuary, and people are attending virtually. I think I can speak for TBS and Emma's family that we're all happy that you're here. It's going to be a really wonderful and beautiful weekend. Parshat Emor. It's a very interesting read because it mainly deals with priestly regulations. These are what the priests can eat, who they can marry, how they're supposed to behave. The priestly class, known as the Kohanim, are obviously no longer operative because we don't have a big centralized temple in Jerusalem, but according to some traditions, they still have several roles they can partake in. In some communities, for instance, the Kohanim are offered the first aliyah for a Torah service. Oftentimes, they can do other priestly blessings or benedictions throughout the year. But they are still mandated not to interact with corpses or go into places where there are dead bodies, like funeral homes and cemeteries, etc. And according to some stringent views of Jewish law, they are not allowed to marry converts to Judaism or women who have been previously divorced. Doing this could theoretically nullify one's status as a Kohen. So I said all of that because I want to tell you this. This week, there have been headlines all over Jewish outlets about a Christian missionary that was secretly living and proselytizing in a very, very ultra-Orthodox neighborhood in Jerusalem known as Mea Sharim. And although he had been doing this since 2014, he has only recently been discovered because he was posing as a Haredi Jew. That's right, a Christian missionary disguised himself, wore a black suit and a black hat, grew a long beard and grew side curls where he wore tzitzit everywhere, and he lived alongside these very ultra-Orthodox Jews in a very ultra-Orthodox neighborhood for nearly 5 years. He has 3 daughters. They attended a Beit Yaakov school. This is a private Jewish school. His sons went to an ultra-Orthodox kindergarten. It's very, very interesting. Now, what's even more interesting about this guy was that he not only posed himself as a Jewish guy, he also became employed as a sofer. This is somebody who writes holy scrolls. He studied in a yeshiva. I kid you not. He worked as a moil. He was circumcising boys. And he also claimed, wait for it, that he not only was a regular Jew, but a Cohen. I guess if you're going to go big, you should go big or go home, right? So anyway, this guy's name, the news reported, his name is Michael Elk. And despite his fervent claims that he was born Jewish and that he was born a Kohen, somebody found a picture of his father's tombstone with a crucifix. Oops. This guy apparently wrote a book in 2008 about Messianic Judaism, and now they even found that he went on a television show dressed in his Hasidic garb, encouraging other people to pose as Jews, move to Israel, and be Messianic Jews and convert people. Now, besides the fact that this is immoral, it's also illegal to do this in Israel. You're not allowed to proselytize to children, and you're definitely not allowed to have your kids proselytize to other kids. But what boggles my mind is how this guy was able to dupe this very, very observant community into believing this for a long, long time. So I asked my friend, my colleague, and my teacher, one of my favorite rabbis, Rabbi Goodman. We were talking about this case, and I asked him the same question. I said, how could anybody dupe a community for so long? And he gave a very powerful answer, and I asked him if I could share this quote with you. He said yes. I thought about it all week. He said, for many Jews, the Orthodox in particular, it's not about what you believe, it's about what you do. It's not about what you believe, it's what you do. And I think there might be something to that. So several times a month, I get calls, or I should say Nancy, our secretary, gets calls from people in the community who are interested in converting to Judaism. And recently, I got on the phone with someone who told me that they had been studying with an Orthodox rabbi for the past 3 years, but they felt that Orthodoxy wasn't for them, so they were interested in converting via a conservative outlet. Now, this is not so uncommon. It's pretty normal, actually. And anytime this is the case, I start asking these people questions. I ask them about their background. And this person mentioned that he had a Christian background, so I asked him bluntly. I said, do you believe in the Christian God? Do you believe in the J-Man? There was a long pause on the end of the phone. Never a good sign. He said, well, I won't deny it as a possibility. And I said, well, this is a problem. And they said, it is? I said, this is actually kind of the biggest problem. And he retorted, he said, you know, I was never asked about my belief in that while I was studying in the Orthodox community. Over 3 years. And do you know why? I think because, like Rabbi Goodman said, for some Jewish communities, it's not about what you believe, it's about what you do. Now, I want to use extreme tact and caution to talk about this next issue, because it is beyond abhorrent and tragic what happened yesterday in Israel at Mount Meron. If you haven't heard, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, at least 45 people were killed, trampled to death, and at least 150 more were seriously injured in a literal human stampede that occurred on the mountain near the supposed grave of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai in celebration of Lag BaOmer. Now, I want to say this outright. These people that died tragically were Jews. They were our people, Am Yisrael, and they might practice Judaism differently than we do, but they are and were Jews. And I've seen, unfortunately, many social media posts mocking this incident, kind of insinuating that the Orthodox get what they deserve, and I want to denounce that immediately. There were many factors, you can read about this online, many factors that led up to this tragedy, and of course everybody's pointing fingers right now. Some say it was an aluminum walkway that became slippery when it got wet, or a trail that bottlenecked at the end of the exit, or that it was a mass gathering which was not properly prepared for, nor supervised enough, especially during COVID times. The fact of the matter is, this is a horrible tragedy, and yes, it could have been prevented, but it is no less tragic. Now, Israeli authorities warned against this gathering in the first place, believing that it was an accident waiting to happen. But as I've said before, for some Jewish communities, it's not about what you believe, it's about what you do. Perhaps had this community believed first and based their actions off of those beliefs, this whole awful tragedy could have been avoided. Friends, allow me to say tonight that what we believe as Jews is very important. Recently, it seems there has been a shift in the evolution of Jewish thought that says that Judaism has no real creed, Judaism has no real theology, and it's being taught and supported almost that as long as you're observant, as long as you uphold mitzvot, that you can believe in whatever you'd like. You can even be an atheist. And that is incorrect. Friends, every morning, even just a moment ago, we recited the Shema that declares our God, Adonai, is Echad, one. And we recite the Ve'ahavta, beautifully saying that we are to love the Lord our God with all of our soul, with all of our heart, and all of our ability. Sometimes I talk to people that tell me, Rabbi, I don't really need the Jewish religion. I'm born to a Jewish mother. That's good enough. That makes me Jewish enough. I was looking at the conclusion of our Parsha, and it's very interesting. The Torah describes a situation where it talks about a man who was, quote, born to an Egyptian woman and an Israelite father. And immediately after that, it describes this person as being, quote, a half-Israelite. You see, originally the Torah bases Jewish identity not on who your mother was, but who your father was. It wasn't until much, much, much later that a rabbinic decree asserted that Jewishness runs through your mother. And I'll tell you, the same rabbis that declared that to be Jewish you either have to convert or be born to a Jewish mother also declare that you have to believe in the God of Israel to be considered a Jew. A very powerful and yet controversial statement in the 21st century. Friends, again, what we believe matters. I have colleagues in Hasidic movements who are quick to ostracize me and this synagogue, my community, and label us as inauthentic to Torah, inauthentic to Judaism, because we let women do silly things like read from the Torah and wear tefillin. How dare we, they say. And then they turn around and declare to the world that their dead, deceased Rebbe is the Moshiach, is the Messiah. They go and pray at his grave, ask him to intercede with God in heaven. They even hang his picture on their children's cribs. And some of them even tell me point blank that he is not in fact dead. He is. To me, that is a Judaism that is not authentic. What we believe as Jews, friends, once again, matters. My prayer for all of us, my prayer for our families, for our beautiful children, for Jews all over the world, is that what we do should reflect what we believe. If we believe in an all-knowing, all-loving God, then we should love our neighbor like we are commanded to do so, more than any other mitzvah in the Torah. If we believe in a united Jewish people, then we should pray for those poor souls, those poor Jewish souls that were trampled to death in Israel. And we should advocate that dangerous programming like that should not happen again in that capacity. And if we believe that the Jews are a group of people inspired by God and Torah, then we should not be afraid to express a belief in believing those things. We are a people of faith first, and secondly, a people of action. We need to believe first and then act. Shabbat Shalom. Our tradition teaches that on Friday night, angels fly all over the world seeking homes to celebrate Shabbat with. We're going to recognize that tradition and stand turning to page 73 for Shalom Aleichem. Please rise. Page 73.
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Moachim Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Barguni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei Hamlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tzeitzchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Let us please remain standing for Kiddush on page 55. At this time, I'd like to ask Emma Burns, our bat mitzvah for this Shabbat, to please join us and lead us in Kiddush. I'd like to ask Jack and Andrea and Noah to please come up to the bima and join Emma up here. Whoops. And that is why we use white wine, so don't worry. Bring the bottle over. It's
If
okay.
she wanted another, I could just give her the bottle. Mazel tov.
Oh, she'll drink it all. Yeah, she will.
It's okay, it's okay. You good? Okay. Oh. Look, man, it's white wine. Really. This is lesson, a big lesson, Emma. Always use white wine. Page 55. Go for it, Emma.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahavaton hinhelanu.
Zikaron
למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום
תהילה למקרא קודש
זכר לזיעת
מצרים,
מצרים,
כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת
מכל העמים,
בשבת קודשך
באהבה וברצון הנהלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש
השבת. Amen. Okay. Look, Emma, you still have tomorrow to worry about, okay? Let us all join Emma in Amotzi. The good news about this, we cannot spill the challah, so it's good. Just
I mean, I'll find a way.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Amotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Okay. You did it. Emma, I want to, on behalf of the entire congregation, and of course, DJ and Rabbi Hudson and myself, I want to present you with a certificate from the Jewish National Fund that a tree was planted in your honor in the state of Israel to celebrate you becoming a bat mitzvah. We're very, very proud of you. Hopefully, you know, in not the too distant future, you'll be able to go to Israel and visit this tree by yourself. And we wish you that you grow proud and strong, just like your tree will. Mazel tov to you and to your family. And that's the certificate that you have a tree. If you're actually going to go see the tree, you let me know first. Okay. We have to make sure they change the sign. Okay?
There's only one tree.
Yeah, there's only one tree. One day is the Emma Burns tree, the other day is the Jonathan Hudson tree. Depends who goes and visit. So you make sure to let us know.
This is my tree.
That is your tree. That is your tree. And we wish you a mazel tov, and we cannot wait till tomorrow. We know it's going to be wonderful. Let us remain standing for Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כיהי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו ככם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שיר נתי שמיים ויוסר. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Let us please remain standing for the counting of the Omer, page 63. וספרתם לכם ממחרת השבת מיום אביכם את עומר התנופה, 7 שבתות תמימות תהיינה, עד ממחרת השבת השביעית תספרו 50 יום. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידישנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר. היום 34 יום, שהם 4 שבועות ו6 ימים לעומר. Today is 34 days, 4 weeks, and 6 days of the Omer. Let us please be seated. The following is a list of yortzites at Temple Bet Shalom for the following week. Eleanor Abrams, Esther Racing Asus, Samuel Aram, Joseph Basbas, Florence Berger, Lisa Berman, Sylvia Berman, Samuel Bloomfield, Florence Brown, Sherwin Bulmash, Edna Casey, David R. Koblenz, Rosie Dundies, Burton Galen, Louis Garfinkel, Erwin Goldberg, Doris Goldsmith, Maurice Chazan, Howard Jacob, Rabbi Samuel Jones, Godel Carlson Nelson, Adele Karchmer, Estelle Katz Aberson, Gerald Vance, Gerard Louis, George Minnis, Beula Nitstadt, Ave Price, Tessie Ross, Heather Sachs, Faye Schwartzer, Charles Michael Seltzer, Herbert Solomon, Faye Toporek, Morris Weisbley, Louis Winkler. Mourners and those serving yortzeit, please rise at this time for the Mourners Kaddish, page 58.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirute ve'amlich malchute v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari ve'imru amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach l'olam l'olmei almaya.
Yitborak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen. Let us please be seated. I'd like to call upon Joel Mann, member of our board of directors, for the announcements.
Oh, there you go. Shabbat Shalom. There you go. It is wonderful to see you. Join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. for Shabbat morning service when Emma Behrens will be called to the Torah. We're very excited to see that. TBS annual meeting will be on Sunday, May 23rd at 3 p.m. The meeting for current members may be attended in person or online. Women's League annual donor event will be on Sunday, May 16th at 10:30 a.m. Please contact Kim Mimar for more information. Adult education this week includes Radical Torah on Monday at noon and Essential Talmud held online on Tuesday at 10 a.m. with Rabbi Goodman. Intro into Judaism will be held in person with Rabbi Hodson on Thursday at 7 p.m. The Early Childhood Education Center is accepting registration for summer camp as well as for the fall. Contact the ECC for more information. Please join us for the Oneg following services in the large social hall. If you are visiting Southern Nevada, please take a moment to introduce yourself to me. Again, my name is Joel Mann. If you know of a temple member who is in the hospital, ill, at home, or in a nursing home, please contact the temple office to let us know. Shabbat Shalom.
Southern Nevada. What about Las Vegas? Okay. We're gonna conclude our service with Adon Olam on page 211. Looking forward to having Emma lead us tomorrow morning in the whole service, I heard? No, that's not true, right? I'm just making it up right now. Okay, just checking if she's awake. Page 211, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam, Hashem Alach, B'terem kol hitziniva, Ne'nasa, והפסוק כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי כתלות הכל, לבדו אין לו נורא. והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להגבירה. בלי ראשית, בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמזרע. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצורכם לי בצרה. והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנקוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אף כי רוחי והייתי שם בהעירה. ועם רוחי גבייתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא. ניי 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 ניי
This time, let us come together. Let us embrace the people next to us. If it's kosher, if you're vaccinated, if you're in your pod, whichever way you want to do it, let us come together and show each other the love and the beauty and the light of Shabbat as it descends upon us this evening.
יבורכך אדוני וישמרך. יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך. יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. יבורכך אדוני וישמרך.
אדוני עוז למו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam shalom, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom, Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu, Ojevo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.